99% of people will never accomplish their goals for 2026, not because they're lazy or unmotivated, but because they'll never decide to become the person who naturally achieves that goal. Almost everyone makes goals for the new year. Some write it down, others don't, but nevertheless, the new year feels like a fresh start. And most of us will be chasing some form of progress, improvement, or change. But 99% of us will inevitably fail. This video is about how you set yourself up to get in that 1%. You can put this on in the background or spend some time with me as I get a workout in. I've been off the gym for some time, so this workout will be reflective of that. We don't live with our egos. So, a story I heard some time ago explains my point perfectly of why most people fail their goals. There once was a young prince who spent his evenings watching his father glide through the training yard. His sword sang as it cut through air and echoed off the stone walls. The king was also a talent with the sword, and naturally the boy wanted to become an elite swordsman too. But the thought of never being able to match his father's skill terrified him, because whenever a blade, even a wooden one, was raised toward him in training, his hands would tremble or his feet would freeze. The clang of steel in combat sent a shiver down his spine. He believed that only a truly powerful sword could quiet that fear. When he asked his sword master where such a blade could be found, the master replied, "I can forge a sword worthy of your father's name, but it requires a scale from the dragon that guards the western cliffs. Bring me that scale and the blade is yours." It sounded like a cruel joke. Everyone knew the dragon's lair was a cavern of darkness where not even the bravest dared to venture. Yet the swordmaster's words held a promise. When the blade is yours, you will no longer be the boy who cowers. You will become the fearless warrior you have always wanted to be. The prince set out alone, carrying the weight of his father's expectations on his shoulders. As he climbed the winding path, the wind whispered doubts in his ear. Each step was a battle against the ache in his knees and the roar of his own fear. When he reached the mouth of the cavern, the darkness seemed to swallow his breath, and the whole time he thought of turning back. But then he remembered the faces of those who loved and respected his father, how they revered him, how his name will continue for generations. The prince wanted that for himself too, and with that fire as his lantern, he met with the darkness. Inside, the dragon coiled around a mound of glittering treasure, its eyes amber, ancient, and fixed on the prince. Its voice rolled like distant thunder. "Why do you disturb my rest, boy?" The prince's throat tightened, but he evicted the words. "I seek only a scale to forge a blade that will let me protect my kingdom." The dragon could smell his fear, but he admired the flicker of resolve within the boy to hold his ground. It lowered its massive head and said, "A scale is taken not by strength alone, but by the willingness to step into uncertainty." The prince was confused, but the dragon said nothing more. With a careful hand, the prince reached for a single iridescent scale from under the dragon's eye. His fingers closed around it. His heart whispered, "I could turn back, but if I stay, I will prove to everyone that I am more than the boy worthy of carrying my father's name." His hand moved to action. Still, his heart hammered, his breath shallow, his mind screaming, "Turn back!" Yet he pressed forward. A surge of warmth swelled his chest, knowing that he had faced the unknown and survived. He emerged from the cave clutching the scale. The swordmaster kept his word, fashioning the scale into a blade that shimmered with an inner light. When the boy first lifted it, the metal felt like an extension of his own heart, steady, unyielding, and alive with purpose. Then, on a day the court gathered to watch the young prince spar with the kingdom's most seasoned warrior, his opponent's sword sliced through the air, and for an instant he felt the old flutter of fear. Yet, as the blade met his own, he did not flinch. He stood firm and guided his sword with a calm he had never known. The clash was brief, but the outcome was clear. The prince's strike was true, his defense unshakable. The court erupted in astonishment, and the king's eyes, once clouded with disappointment, now shone with pride. He had not merely stood his ground, he proved to himself that the boy who once cowered could become the hero he aspired to be. If you're still listening up to this point, you probably understand what I'm trying to say. Who you become matters more than what you do. Our hero is asked for one thing, a dragon scale that will let him forge the blade that he needs. He believes this blade is the only way to become the warrior he wishes to be. What stops him is the choice to enter the dark cavern. If you've ever failed at accomplishing something, it's not necessarily due to a lack of effort. It's the unmade decision to become the kind of person who naturally performs the actions that lead to the outcome that you want to emulate. In his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear wrote, The ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when you change your identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Our prince didn't just need a sword, he needed to decide to become a warrior first. That was the missing piece. His swordmaster knew this, and that is why he sent him to the dragon's cave. He thought that if the prince can face a dragon alone, nothing will stop him from becoming a true warrior and honing his skills. Change will always be difficult, unless you trick your mind. The cave is dark, cold, scary, because of the dragon inside. Every instinct tells the prince to turn back, but this is the state of your brain when you choose to embark on a goal, especially one that is not within character. For the brain, change is scary, change is stressful, change is energetically expensive. According to Andrew Huberman, your brain's basal ganglia resists new behaviors because they burn 2 times more glucose than habits. That's why your cave feels impossible. Your old identity is clinging on for dear life. And the prince feels the same resistance, yet he presses forward. When someone says that losing weight is difficult or that talking to pretty girls is hard, they're only half right. Subjectively, they are, but objectively, they're not. Objectively, losing weight requires a systematic approach. For most, it's as simple as a caloric deficit. Same for talking to pretty girls, you just talk to them. The challenge is only in the mind. Results flow from who you've become, not from chasing the goal. The sword master forges the scale into a blade after our hero was brave enough to step into the dragon's lair. The blade appears because the prince now becomes the person who is capable of wielding it. The achievement isn't handed to him. The sword also is not what allows him to become stronger. It is a direct result of his internal shift. When he finally decided to take action, his goal of becoming a courageous hero materialized. How to do an identity shift. Now, how do we actually put this into action? As with all changes of the mind, the best way to enact change is with a mental exercise. Personally, I've used this to break bad habits and build good ones. Check out the description in this video and you'll find an identity shift worksheet. It's a simple but powerful exercise and it'll work for you if you take it seriously. Get the PDF from the link and print it. Yeah, print it. Get tactile, put pen to paper. When you print out the document, there's going to be a number of steps and I'm going to walk you through each one. First step is to declare your identity. So we're going to start with one sentence. Who do you commit to becoming? For example, let's say that you're trying to eat more healthy. So it's going to be, I am someone who nourishes my body with wholesome foods and enjoys each bite. All right. The goal is going to be to eat 5 servings of vegetables daily, starting February 1st. Keep a daily healthy eating journal or log. I like this much better than affirmations because it's actually concrete, it's solid. You are making a statement towards the type of person you want to become by a certain date and the actions that you need to take to get there. So you're going to write that out and then we're going to move on to step 2, which is spotting the block. Usually there is a trigger or a block that happens when you're trying to stop a bad habit or something that prevents you from becoming the type of person you want to become. Usually a person tends to reach for processed snacks when they're busy or stressed. The habit feels automatic and hard to break. So you could write that down there. A lot of times people who overeat, they're not mindful of their consumption. People who bite their nails, for example, they might do that when they're stressed. And by the time they realize they're biting their nails, it's already too late. So if you're trying to become something, you need to shine a light on what's blocking you from becoming that thing, or what are you doing that's automatic that's preventing you from becoming that thing. Then we move on to step 3, the cavern commitment, which is a situation plus time plus action, smallest step. So we're looking at the smallest step we can take towards our ideal goal, ideal personality. In this example of eating healthy, we need to identify what is the smallest step we can take towards the shift. An example could be mid-afternoon at work at 3:30, we can replace the snacking urge of a candy bar with prepped carrots with hummus. Then you would go back and tick if done, not done. Step 4 is we gather proof. So we need to reflect and see how our actions prove our new identity. So your subconscious is always watching, it's always listening. So we can't say that we are a certain type of person if we don't have any proof to back that up. This is why affirmations don't really work that well. The subconscious is looking for a proof to justify what it is you're trying to tell it. If let's say that we're eating carrots with hummus and we feel satisfied, no sugar crashes, this shows I am the person who nourishes my body because I choose nutrient dense over processed sugar. And then you would tick proof of transformation, right? So this is you telling yourself that, okay, I am the type of person who eats healthy. So because I did this, I ate the carrots with the hummus and I felt satisfied. There were no sugar crashes. Then that must mean that I am the person who does this activity, right? And then step 5, iterate. What can we do better next time? You won't get this perfectly the first time. So there will always be room for improvement. You could write, add fruit salad on Friday, and we keep mixed nuts for emergencies. So you keep mixed nuts in the event that you slip up and you snack on something that you shouldn't because you didn't have anything healthy to replace it with. This happens a lot to me myself. I eat extremely healthy, but in situations where I am craving sugar, for example, and I don't have sugar available to me, and happens to be a candy bar in my cupboard, chances are I'm going to have that candy bar. That candy bar should not have been there in the first place. What should have been there was probably honey or maple syrup or fermented black garlic, which is actually a bit sweet, right? So that fills the sugar craving that I would have. Or if I'm craving for something salty, instead of having a bag of chips in my cupboard, I would have a a jar of mixed nuts, salted mixed nuts. So when I go and snack on those salted mixed nuts, I'm not going to feel tempted to go and buy a bag of potato chips. Daily pages cover 7 days, so you're going to print 4 per month, along with the weekly and monthly reflections. And then we have tracking. Repeat until the habit or identity change feels natural to you. Research from the University College London found that it takes on average 66 days to form a habit. That's why this worksheet will work for you if you give it enough time. This worksheet isn't about pushing harder to become someone you're not. It's to naturally transition you into who you need to become to accomplish the goal you aim for. That's your dragon scale. Download the worksheet, print, step into your dark cavern. Our transformation lies deep inside. This is my first long form video on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, support the channel. Peace.